So in the last class, we have seen what are the sources, different sources in an electric circuit, and also we have seen what is electric circuit. Okay, so in today's class, we will be looking into source transformation and source shifting. Okay. We'll be looking into source transformation. Okay, so source transformation is nothing but converting a voltage source to a current source, converting a current source to a voltage source. Now, why we need to do that is simply to go for the analysis of the circuit. I want to simplify the circuit so that I will analyze it and I will come to certain conclusions. And in which cases I can do this? In ideal sources, okay, ideal sources, we don't have any internal resistance in it. Okay? In ideal sources, we don't have any internal resistance in it. So, source transformation we did not do here. We do not do here any source transformation in ideal sources, because in ideal sources, the value of the source is constant, okay, and that source will deliver that particular quantity. Okay, but in practical sources, we will be having internal resistance. By proper connection of this internal resistance and taking the equivalent value, we can transfer a voltage source to a current source and a current source into a voltage source. Okay, how we do that, we will see. Okay. Now let us consider a practical voltage source. Consider a practical voltage source. And let us consider a practical voltage source. This practical voltage source will have a source value, let this be V, okay, and it has got its some internal resistance, let this be small r, and connected to a load resistance RL. Okay. So this is voltage V, or I will take the same convention as in the notes. Let it be E. Okay. Let it be E. Okay. So now this is the source. Okay. This is voltage source. Okay. Now this voltage source is connected to a load resistance RL. Now what is current IL? Now I will take IL is equals to, it is simple, E volts divided by total resistance of the circuit, R plus RL. E volts into the divided by total resistance of the circuit, R plus RL. This is my load current, okay, or current circulating in the circuit given by the source of E volts with R internal resistance. Now if I want to convert it into an equivalent current source, if I want to convert it into an equivalent current source, then what I do, I place a current source. Okay. I place a current source, and this internal resistance R now will be placed in parallel to that source. And I have a load resistance of RL. Now this is the internal resistance R. This is the load resistance RL. This is the load current IL. Now what is the direction of the current? Okay. What is the direction of the current? That is important. Okay. So observe here, the direction of this EMF is upwards. We know that the direction of voltage is as per the polarities mentioned. This is called the active polarity, okay, or active sign convention. The active means because this is an active element. Source is an active element. So whatever the sign convention source follows, that is the active sign convention. Whatever the sign convention the sink follows. Sink means the passive element which is receiving the current. That is called passive sign convention. Okay. So when I observe the direction of EMF by the source or of the source is upwards, because positive sign is up, negative sign is down. So the direction of EMF is upwards, because if I see the conventional current flowing out of this EMF source, that is I, okay, will flow out of the source. It is flowing upwards. So therefore, direction of current source upwards. Okay, whichever side the positive sign of the source is there, that side we get the arrow mark. Simple remembrance. Whichever side we get the positive sign of the source, that side we get the arrow mark. The positive sign is upward, arrow mark is upwards. Okay. So now this is the value of the current source. This is the value of the current source. Now, how exactly I can give the value? Now, what is this value I? Once I get the value I will get the value IL, because it is simply a current divider equation later. Now, what is the value I? From where I will get this value I of the source? The value I of the source will come from E. Okay, and the internal resistance R. So I will give I as, it is E divided by R. I as E divided by R. Okay. Then what is IL? IL is, apply current divider formula. Okay. I into, I want the resistance current in the RL, so it will be R divided by R plus RL. R plus RL. Now, is it true? I should be checking. Okay. Is it true? I should be checking. Now, you take this as equation 1, this as equation 2. See whether this load resistance receives current from the voltage source or it receives current from the current source. The current received by the load resistance is same. It won't change. Okay, I am only transforming this, okay, at analytical level, that is on paper. Practically, if I connect a voltage source to a load resistance, what value of current this received by the load resistance, that value of current should be received by the same load resistance even when I transform the source. So after source transformation, the current received by any branch should not change. That is the fundamental thing we should remember, because if it changes, then there is no meaning in source transformation. That will become entirely a different circuit. If the currents in branch changes, suppose there are multiple branches connected over here, And if the current changes every time I do the source transformation in each branch, then that after every source transformation, the circuit become new circuit. The original circuit is lost. So there is no meaning in the analysis of the circuit. Okay, so therefore, whenever I do the source transformation, I should keep one thing in mind, that the original value of currents and voltages through and across the branches should not alter. Okay, that is important. Now, IL, equation 1 is also representing IL, equation 2 is also representing IL. I will equate it from 1 and 2. I think there is a shine here. From 1 and 2. Okay, I will equate these two. E divided by R plus RL is equals to I into R divided by R plus RL. So denominators will cancel out. My E will be equals to I into R. Therefore, I is equals to E divided by. So that is the value of I. So if I have a voltage of some E volts, in series with that I have a resistance of say some R ohms. Now if I want to convert that into a current source, then simply take the ratio of E to R. That will be the value of source, current source. And how I represent current source is a source of I amps in parallel to a internal resistance, the internal resistance of R ohms. Then entire circuit will fall as it is. Okay. So this is how I convert my voltage source to a current source. Now, if I want to convert current source to voltage source, exactly the reverse way. Okay. Now I have a current source. I have a current source in parallel with internal resistance R. Then convert that to voltage source by keeping voltage source of E volts in series with the internal resistance R. Now, what is the value of E? The value of E is this. Okay, that value of E is now equals to the current I, the source value of the current source, multiplied by the internal resistance that is in parallel with the current source. Okay, now generally when I go for the circuit analysis, it is not every time mentioned the sources given are ideal or practical. Generally what we do if we want to analyze, if any resistance fall in series with the voltage source, I consider it to be an internal resistance and I can do source transformation using that. If there is any resistance coming parallel with current source, I consider that resistance to be a source resistance or internal resistance of the source and I go for the source transformation. Okay, this we will be doing usually. Okay, it is not every time mentioned, or it may not be every time mentioned that this particular source 1 is having so much of internal resistance, source 2 is having this much of internal resistance, and so on. Okay. Now what happens if the sources come in series, come in parallel, and their equivalent values? Okay, that we need to look into now. Ideal voltage sources in series. Okay. Or we will take general voltage source in series. Okay. First we will take ideal sources. Now suppose I have two ideal sources, voltage sources in series. let this be V1, let this be V2, let this be A and B. Okay. You can take vertically also, there is no harm. Okay. Because space is less, I am using horizontal way of drawing the diagrams. Now observe, two voltage sources are connected in series. Now what is the voltage VAB? Okay, it will be the effective value or equivalent value of these two voltages. Okay, either it will be V1 plus V2 or it will be V1 minus V2. So that depends how I have connected with the polarities of the sources. Now the direction of V1 is left to right because see, okay, positive direction is towards right. The direction of V2 is also from left to right. So both the voltage sources are acting in the same direction. It means that they add up. Okay, the equivalent value will be sum of these two. So VAB is now is equals to V1 plus V2, or we can take the total voltage V. V is equals to V1 plus V2. So what I will do now, I will represent, okay, okay, with only single source. I will represent the voltage between A and B with only single source. Now if these two are opposite, then what is V? V is equals to, one is from left to right, other is from right to left. They are opposing each other. So it is V is equals to V1 difference V2. If V1 is greater, V1 minus V2. If V2 is greater, V2 minus V1. So V1 difference V2. So in this case also I can represent with a single source. Now if it is V2 minus V1, then sign convention will be plus minus. This will be plus, this will be minus. If it is V1 minus V2, sign convention will be minus and plus. That is very much important in the circuit analysis. Sign convention and the polarity markings. Polarities are very much important in circuit analysis. If we analyze the circuit using wrong polarities, then we will end up in getting wrong results. Okay, so assigning the polarities in the circuit during the analysis is of utmost importance. Okay, that we need to take care all the time. Okay. Then practical sources. Then practical sources. Okay, so we know that in practical sources we will be having the resistances. Now suppose I have a V1 with an internal resistance of R1 and I have V2 with internal resistance of R2. Now I need to find what is V. Okay, simple. Now in ideal sources, what I did, I observed the polarity of the source values. Then if the polarities are such that they are aiding each other, or both the values or both the voltages are in the same direction, then I added up. If they are in opposite, then I took a subtraction of two values. Same thing I have to do here. There is no change. Okay. This is equals to or equivalent to what I will do is this is V and this is R. Now I should be writing what is V and what is R. V is, I know both the voltages are in the same direction. So V is equals to V1 plus V2 and R. See, the resistance R1 and R2 fall in series. Therefore, it is simply the sum of two resistances. R is equal to R1 plus R2. If they are opposing, V1 minus V2 or V2 minus V1, but still R is R1 plus R2. You don't take R1 minus R2 if V1 is greater than V2 if they are opposing. Resistances will add up. Okay. So this is about the voltage sources in series. Next. What if voltage sources are in parallel? Okay. That part we will see after some time. First we will see the fundamentals. Now next you take current sources in parallel, because these are practically realizable connections. I can add two voltage sources in series because we know that in a series circuit, the voltage across each element or component, whether active or passive, will go on adding up depending upon the polarity. Now the equivalent voltage across the entire branch with multiple components in it will be equals to the algebraic sum of all the voltages. Okay, that is what KVL. So that is very convenient and practically realizable connection. So first we will look into what are the practically realizable connections. Then we will look into the special cases. So second part, the next point is current sources in parallel. Because we know that currents get added when different branches connected in parallel will meet a node. Okay. So that is a practically realizable connection. Current sources in parallel. Okay. Now, we know that how current sources are there. Current sources will be with the source and a resistance in parallel to that. First we'll look into the ideal condition. Okay. Ideal condition. You may ask that when ideal conditions do not exist in practice, why we need to study? One thing you should remember, in any case, the ideal case studies are always helpful to conceptualize and understand the practical concepts. Okay? Because in ideal conditions, lot of things will not be present, analysis becomes very easy. Now, for example, there are no internal resistances. Simply by observing these two values of, these two direction of currents, I will get to know what is the resultant current. Okay. As I go on adding the circuit components, it becomes more complex. So in ideal cases, why we study ideal cases is it will be easy for us to understand as a fundamental concept then that concept can be applied to the practical conditions. Okay, that is the reason why we study ideal cases. Okay. Now, both the direction of the current sources is same. This current will flow here. It will meet up this node. This current will flow. It will meet up this node, and the resultant current will flow out of the node. Definitely. Then the resultant current is the sum of these two currents, I1 and I2. So I can represent this using a single source of I. So now I is equals to I1 plus I2. I is equals to I1 plus I2. Now if they are opposite, let this be I1, that I2 is flowing opposite to that of I1, then definitely I1 will be opposite to that of I2. Okay. Then I is equals to, this is equivalent to I. I is equals to I1 difference I2. Okay. Now if I1 is greater than I2, direction of resultant source will be upwards as that of direction of I1. If I2 is greater than I1, then direction of resultant current will be the direction of I2. Okay, that we should take. Now coming to practical cases, I will. I can use. Coming to the practical cases, I have a current source, and always there will be an internal resistance in parallel to this. Another current source. Let this be the source value of I1 amps with R1 ohms of resistance internal. Let this be I2 amps with R2 ohms of internal resistance. Then equivalently, I can write it as a single source and a single resistance. Okay, a single source with single resistance. Now what is the value of source I? The value of source I is the direction of current, it is I1 plus I2. If anyone is opposing, then it will be I1 difference I2. Okay, that is also the case. Now what is R? R is, now look here, R1 and R2 are in parallel. Therefore, the equivalent resistance R is the equivalent parallel resistance of R1 and R2. So R1 parallel R2, that is R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Okay. Now this is the source connections. Okay. I will not go for difference of current. If this is opposite, R1 minus I1 minus I2 or I2 minus I1, R1 parallel R2 will remain same. Okay, it won't change. Now there are two special cases. What if the current sources come in series and voltage sources come in parallel? Because we know that in series, if I take a series branch, currents, now suppose I have a current source, I have a resistance, I have so many things here. Now I expect the current in all the components is same. because it is by nature of a series circuit. Now what if I add one more source? Now which current has to be taken? Should I take I1 as common current in all the components, or I2 as common current in all the components? So that is the practical ambiguity what we look at. Okay, so we'll see what happens when the two current sources come in series. Okay, again there will be ideal cases and practical cases. Okay, current sources in series. Okay. Current sources in series. Now, ideal case. Find I1 is not equals to I2. This is very important. Okay, I1 not equals to I2. When I get two ideal current sources in series, and if both the source values are different, then that is invalid connection. Okay, this is invalid connection. It is invalid connection. Why it is invalid connection? Because if there are components connected in series with at least one source, current or voltage, then it is expected all the components should carry the same current. But here it is different. Now suppose the value of I1 is very large compared to value of I2. Now the second source is forced to carry the first current. It will damage. Okay. If value of I2 is very large compared to I1, then I1 will damage. So practically, I cannot connect two ideal current sources in series. That will become an invalid connection, and this kind of connection is not to be considered in analysis. Now suppose even if I get this kind of connection in any of the circuit example in my analysis, you can directly discard that branch in ideal case, but in practical case slightly a difference we will look into. Okay, now second case is practical. Now this is valid if I1 is equal to I2. Okay, I1 is not equal to I2 is invalid connection. Then what about I1 is equals to I2? This will be is equals to I. Now this will be valid. There is no harm if I connect two current sources in series of the same value, but I cannot connect of different values. So this is a valid connection. If I1 is equal to I2, if I even connect n number of current sources in series, and if all the n number of current sources are having the exactly same value, then that is a valid connection. But there is no meaning in that, because it is of no use connecting two current sources of the same value in series. Okay. Then second case is practical. Practical case. Now we know that practical current sources will come with an resistance in parallel to them. I1, I2. Let this be R2, let this be R1. Okay. So now there is a possibility of practical realization of this connection. Why? Because I can convert these two sources to a voltage source, and I know that series connection of two voltage sources is valid. Is it? I know that series connection of two voltage source is valid. Okay. So therefore, I will equivalently take, I will convert this, or you can take convert current source to voltage source. Convert current source to voltage source. So what I get? So this is direction of, see, the direction of current is towards left to right. So we have seen in conversion of voltage source to current source, whichever side there is positive sign of the voltage source, that side I get the arrow mark, arrow head. Okay. Now, if I want to convert current source to voltage source, observe the direction of arrowhead. It is left to right. So the positive sign of the voltage source should come towards right of the source. So this is minus, this is plus. This sign convention is very, very important, or else you will go wrong. Okay. So let this be E1 or V1. There is no harm. This will be R1, resistance R1. This is terminal B. This is R2. Now observe the direction of current left to right. So towards right there is positive, left towards there is negative. So this is E2. Okay. Now I want equivalent current source of two current sources connected in series. Now take the equivalent voltage source. Take equivalent voltage source. That is E. The direction of both EMFs are left to right. Okay. So the total voltage is minus plus E, and this is R. Okay. So E is E1 plus E2 and R is R1 plus R2. Now I have a voltage source. Convert back that to current source. Now convert this voltage source to current source. So what I get is I, this is R. So what is I? I is E divided by R. Okay. Where E is E1 plus E2 and R is R1 plus R2. Okay. And what is E1 here? Now I should be defining what is E1. So E1 is I1 R1 and E2 is I2 R2. So if there are practical current sources connected in series, I have an option to get the equivalent current source. But in ideal current source, it is not possible. Now we'll look into another special case if there are voltage sources in parallel. Voltage sources in parallel. First is ideal case. First is ideal case. Okay. Now we know that when there is a parallel circuit, the voltage across each branch will remain same. The total voltage across each branch will remain same. Now if there are two branches with the two voltage sources, okay, then if V1 is not equals to V2, then this is invalid connection. If V1 is not equal to V2, then it is invalid connection. Now if V1 is equals to V2 is equals to V, then it is valid connection. Okay, I can connect two voltage sources, ideal voltage sources in parallel, no harm, but provided both the values should be of equal magnitude. Now what if they are different? If V1 is very large compared to V2, then observe there is a potential difference in this loop. Okay, there is a potential difference in this loop and the resistance of the loop is 0. So there is large potential difference against 0 resistance, that is a short circuit. So there will be a large short circuit, circulating current will be flowing between these two sources, which will damage both the sources. Okay, that is the reason why I don't connect two ideal voltage sources in parallel. Okay, if they are of unequal values. If they are of equal values, valid, that I can consider. Okay, then second case, practical voltage sources. What I did with current source, I converted current source to voltage source. I added two voltage sources in series. Then I converted that back to current source. Same thing I will do in the reverse way. Okay. Practical case that I have an internal resistance of R1 ohms with a voltage value of say V1. Second source is having internal resistance of R2 ohms with value of voltage V2. Okay. So now what I have to do, I have to now convert the voltage sources into current source. Convert voltage source into current source. Convert voltage source into current source. Now, the direction of current source will be upwards because direction of polarity of V1 and V2 both are upwards. Direction of EMF. So this will be I1 in parallel with a resistance R1. Second source will be of value I2 in parallel with the resistance R2. So I1 is V1 by R1. I2 is V2 by R2. Okay. I1 is V1 by R1, I2 is V2 by R2. Okay. Then I know that how to get the equivalent source. Okay. If both the current directions are in the same direction, then I will add it. I will get a resultant current. Or you take a point here, take resultant source or equivalent source, both are same. This is I. Now I is equals to I1 plus I2, and R is equals to R1 parallel R2. That is R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Okay. Now convert current source to voltage source, equivalent voltage source. Okay, not any arbitrary voltage source. Now it will be okay. So this is V. So V is equals to I into R, where I is I1 plus I2 and R is R1 parallel R2. So this is how I convert, okay, my sources. Okay, I will take the equivalent sources. This all come in source transformation. Okay, this all come in source transformation. Okay, then we will look into source shifting, that one point, then we will wind up. Okay. Source shifting. First we will look into voltage source. First we will look into how the voltage source is shifted and from where to where it is shifted. That is important. Okay. Now suppose I have a voltage source. Now this is A. I will take a general case. Later we will look into the practical case. You can take any circuit for example, okay? R1, R2, R3, R4. It is not an example, it is simply concept understanding. It is very important. Source shifting concept is important, okay? Because I arbitrarily cannot do the things. Now observe. I have, let us take this as node A. And this as node B. Okay. Hope it is visible. It is too light, I think. Okay. Node A and node B. Now observe the polarities of the components connected to node A. Now with this source connection of E volts, node A is at positive polarity, node B is at negative polarity. Okay? Node A is at positive polarity, node B is at negative polarity. One thing. Second, now let observe the resistance R1 and R2. R1 is connected to node A, which is at positive polarity. R2 is connected to node A, which is at positive polarity. So it means that these terminals of R1 and R2 are at positive potential or positive polarity. So whenever I shift the voltage source beyond certain nodes, so voltage source is shifted it is shifted beyond the node it is connected to. Beyond the node it is connected to. I can shift this voltage source from beyond node A to R1 and R2. I can shift this voltage source beyond node B for R3 and R4. Okay. Now observe, R1 is at positive potential with a terminal connected to node A. R2 is at positive potential with a terminal connected to node A. If you want, you can name the nodes also or the terminals of R1 and R2. Let me take this as U and V, W and X. Okay. This you can take it as small a, B, small c and D. Now the terminal U of R1 is at positive potential, terminal W of R2 is at positive potential. Now when I shift the source beyond the node A, the polarities of U and W should be same. That I should take care. Now if I shift, let us shift the source E beyond node A. Beyond node A. Then what will happen? Or here I will take beyond node A. You don't worry about this. Okay, it will be automatically at its own potential point. Don't worry about that. Now this is node A. Okay. Now when I have to shift this beyond node A, any number of branches those are connected to node A, in all the branch this source will appear. Now there are two branches connected. This source of E volts will be in branch of R1 resistance and also in branch of R2 resistance. Why? Because the polarity of W and U should be maintained same. I can't change that. Okay. Now this is resistance R1. This is terminal W. So terminal U. This is terminal V. This is R1. This is R2. W and this is X. This is node A. Now U should be at positive potential, W should be at positive potential. So therefore the source will be of this direction, plus and minus. E plus, minus and plus. Now U is at positive potential, W is at positive potential. Then what about this? See, node B is at negative potential. We should not forget that. Automatically it will happen. I need not to worry much about that. Okay. Now I have another two branches here connected in parallel. This is what? A. This is B. This is C and this is D. This is R3 and this is R4. This is node B. Now node B is at negative potential. It is connected to node A. Now when I shift the voltage source from this branch to the beyond the node, then that part of the circuit should be replaced by a short circuit. Okay. Then this will be a short circuit. Then directly node A is connected to node B. Now what is the direct potential of node A? It is negative. Okay, this source and this source both are connected with negative potential to this node A, and node B will be automatically at negative potential because now node A is directly connected to a solid wire to node B. So therefore, by default or automatically, the polarity of other node will not change. It will remain same. So there exactly this circuit is same as that of this one. So this is how the source shifting is done. Please mind, whenever I want to shift the voltage source, I will be shifting it beyond the nodes. I will be pushing the source beyond the nodes. Okay, after the node, if I want to place it, then I should make sure that the components connected, the elements connected to that node will carry the same polarity as before the source shifting, not the node. Don't worry about the node's polarity. Worry about the component's polarity. If you worry about node polarity, then it is lost. Okay, it will be erroneous. Okay. Now, if I want to shift the voltage source beyond node B, follow the same principle. Okay, this is case 1. Second case, that so let us shift source E beyond node B. Let us shift source E beyond node B. That is also possible. It is not always that the source has to be shifted beyond the node ahead of the source. It can be previous node also. There is no harm, no change. Okay. Now follow the same process. Now look here. The polarity of R3 with terminal A is negative. Polarity of R4 with terminal C is negative. Then I should be shifting the source beyond node B in such a way that the polarity of terminal A and terminal C will be negative. And observe the polarity of node A is positive with the original connection. I will not write terminals for R1, R2. Now I don't need that. Now R3, this is A and B. R4, this is C and D. Now A should be at negative potential, C should be at negative potential. Okay, so therefore my source will be with this polarity. E. See, simply you do shift this source as it is here. You observe here. This voltage is here. I am simply taking it, putting it here. Okay? Taking it, putting it here. Then at B, negative is connected to B. I am taking it, putting it here. Taking it, putting it here. Along the directions, as per the direction, you simply shift it. Or you follow this convention. This is the more understandable convention. There is no shortcut in this understanding. Okay, if you understand this concept that the component polarities must be retained as it is in the original circuit, then that is the best way to shift, because you will understand it perfectly. You will never go wrong. Okay, now I should replace this source by short circuit. This is node A and node B. Now observe, node B is at positive potential, same as node A. Now node A was at positive potential. Here also node A is at positive potential. There is no change because node A and node B are same now. It is a single wire connection. Okay. So this is the way how I do the source shifting of voltage sources. Okay. Yes. Here one point. Let us shift the source E beyond node A and replace source at original branch by short circuit. Why short circuit? Because I am taking the source out from that point. When I take the source out, the source value becomes 0. When the voltage is 0, voltage is 0 across short circuit. So if I want to make voltage 0, I always take short circuit. If I want to make voltage current 0, I take it as open circuit. Okay. Node and replace source at original branch by short circuit. Same here. Replace source by short circuit at original branch. At original branch by short circuit. So this is how I do the source transformation with voltage sources. With current sources, we'll end this session.